In the SUV world, the Toyota FJ Cruiser ranks amongst the most unique looking. This example we have here though took that uniqueness factor several notches further. In this video, we get to explore one of the most badass looking Toyota FJ Cruisers in the country, after which we get to drive it. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another truck review. If you're new to my channel, I hope you click that subscribe button for your regular dose of Philippine automotive content. If you're my subscriber already, well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show after you click that like button. Also, special thanks to my subscriber viewer who graciously lent me his Toyota FJ Cruiser to do this review. You know who you are, sir, so thank you very much. So what we have here is a 2016 Toyota FJ Cruiser that has been modified to the hilt. This car has nearly 1.5 million Philippine pesos worth of modifications done here, and it is gorgeous, guys. It's a beauty. Now, for proper reference, a brand new 2021 Toyota FJ Cruiser can still be bought for 2,098,000 Philippine pesos. Now, that means that the modifications done to this car is nearly the same value as a brand new Toyota FJ Cruiser. And for my US viewers out there, yes, you can still get a brand new 2021 Toyota FJ Cruiser straight from the dealership right here in the Philippines because, well, we're sort of just lucky in that sense. Now, the good thing here is these mods were all done right. These are tasteful modifications, expensive, true, but they're not ricey or trashy. Now, the owner went with an off-road vibe for this build, despite the fact that this truck has never seen an off-road trail. Now, this FJ Cruiser was built purely for the owner's enjoyment, being the true car enthusiast that he is. Now, when you have 1.5 million Philippine pesos to burn on modifications of your Toyota FJ Cruiser, well, you can afford to go with some of the very best parts. Now, when it comes to the front fascia of this Bruiser, it gets a Trail Team front grille here, as well as a Jaos metal front skid plate. Now, even the headlights have been replaced with the rigid LED headlights, which, if you put all of these three mods alone together, already equals to almost 80,000 Philippine pesos. However, I do like that these three mods just enhance the front fascia of the Toyota FJ Cruiser rather than completely alter it. The side profile of this Toyota FJ Cruiser shows off some more tasteful modifications. It gets a set of 20-inch Volk Racing Te37 black tourer wheels, and these wheels are shod in Nito grappler tires. Now, these Nitos are beefy because the tire size is 305/55 R20s. Now, if you look inside those wheels, you'll see that it's also equipped with the tastiest set of big brake kits that you can ever fit in a Toyota FJ Cruiser. This is an AP Racing big brake kit, and even the wheel nuts are lightweight Race Engineering wheel nuts. Now, this FJ Cruiser also has a 2.5-inch lift, courtesy of a full Jaos suspension, and it also comes with a set of Icon upper control arms, Icon panhard, and an Icon stabilizer link. As I mentioned, guys, it has a set of tasty yet expensive modifications, and that makes this FJ Cruiser capable of going just about anywhere. Now, it also comes with a Trail Team, well, door handles that is thrown in for good measure. The rear end of this FJ Cruiser is dominated by this spare wheel. Now, as you'll notice, guys, this is not the stock spare wheel cover that you can get from Toyota. Rather, this is a Volk Racing Te37 black tourer wheel here. So this just shows you that no expense was spared when it comes to modifying this FJ Cruiser. Now, what's better than 4 pieces of Volk Racing Te37s? Well, 5 pieces of Volk Racing Te37s. Now, we also get a Jaos wing up there, which adds street cred to this FJ Cruiser. And we also have a full Gredy exhaust system right here, which I'm pretty sure most of you guys would want to listen to this. So, let's hear it out. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now, when you pop open the trunk of this FJ Cruiser, you'll notice that you still get the same 28 cubic feet of cargo space here because, well, the owner decided not to put any audio equipment here at the back. So that means that you could still accommodate around 3 or 4 medium-sized luggage here, just like any stock FJ Cruiser. Now, another thing I noticed here though, see, despite having a humongous 20-inch alloy wheel mounted right here at the back, well, that back door still closes pretty easily, just like any stock FJ Cruiser. Now, when it comes to the engine of this FJ Cruiser, well, it only receives some basic mods here because, to be honest guys, it doesn't really need more power than what the stock engine can already provide. This is still a 4-liter V6 gasoline motor that puts out 268 horsepower and 380 Newton meters of torque. Now, the power can be sent to all 4 wheels via a 5-speed automatic transmission. Now, the owner still decided to put an AFP intake here as well as install a DTE pedal box, which should help improve its throttle input. Now, when it comes to the fuel economy of this FJ Cruiser, well, let's put it this way guys. I don't even think that the owner is even bothered by the fuel economy of this thing. Now, the cabin of this modified FJ Cruiser receives a few but some tasteful modifications. In fact, I only count 2 modifications done right here. First, we get this delicious set of Recaro seats that also comes with an armrest. Now, I love how these Recaros have that perfect balance of comfort and support as it hugs my body. Now, the second modification done here is, well, a window tint. We get a vehicle window tint on the windows, and we also have Expel window tint on the windshield. Now, other than that, the entire cabin remains a stock Toyota FJ Cruiser cabin. We get the same leather-wrapped steering wheel here, as well as the same white face 90s era instrument gauge cluster there. Now, we also have the compass on top of your dashboard, plus the temperature and a clinometer or altimeter. And we also have the same layout here on your center stack. You've got your Pioneer head unit there. You've got your climate control system here. But the owner also added an 8-track button here in his FJ Cruiser. You see, the stock brand new FJ Cruisers here in the Philippines doesn't get an 8-track button, even if the 8-track system is already well in place in the FJ Cruiser. So all you need to do is just get that button and plug and play, have it installed right there. Now, moving down from that, from the center stack, on the center tunnel, we have the same FJ shifter here. We also have that shifter for your 4-wheel drive modes and a manual handbrake. Now, if you look at the materials of this cabin, you see that it's all hard plastics, guys, and it also has that toy-like nature to it, the toy-like character. But the good thing there is, being hard plastics, well, it would be quite easy to hose this down after you take it off on a muddy trail. Now, enough of this cabin, guys. It's time to take this modified Toyota FJ Cruiser out for a quick spin just to see how those modifications has affected its driving performance. Alright guys, so we're now driving this modified Toyota FJ Cruiser. And the good thing here, guys, is, well, the owner decided not to put some like really heavy metal bull bars and bumpers on this thing. So in terms of weight, it didn't really gain too much weight. Although, of course, we have larger 20-inch Volk Racing Te37s on this thing, but these are forged aluminum wheels, guys. So yes, these wheels are larger, but they don't really feel too heavy. In fact, I like the fact that, yeah, it doesn't feel too heavy, guys. I mean, normally, if you modify an FJ Cruiser and you put some really large Nito grappler tires that are for off-roading, it's gonna feel heavy and cumbersome on the city streets. But that's not the case here, guys. In fact, it feels quite responsive. And the steering is also pretty good. It doesn't feel too heavy to steer this thing. Although, of course, you do know that you are piloting a larger vehicle than your usual and standard SUV or crossover. Now, when it comes to the visibility and the blind spots of this thing, well, Toyota FJ Cruisers have never been known to have a stellar visibility, and the same can be said for this example. We get the visibility of a tank, well, slightly better than the visibility of a tank, and we get numerous blind spots here as well. This is a left-hand drive vehicle, guys. So yeah, you could really see that there's a blind spot on your passenger side because this thing is a squarish Tonka truck-like SUV. So yeah, but maybe if you own this and you've been driving it on a regular basis, yeah, you get used to the blind spots of this thing, the lack of visibility, and you just be a little bit more careful when you're driving it out. Now, I am happy that the owner fitted this thing with a set of big brakes from AP Racing because you could really feel the heft of this FJ Cruiser, the weight, that momentum whenever you're going. It has a good amount of rev to it, so you need to have a really nice big brake kit to stop this beast. And as you can see, we do a brake test. Yep, the brakes bite hard and it bites with confidence. Much more so than the stock brakes of a Toyota FJ Cruiser. Now, I've driven an FJ Cruiser in the past, like a couple of years ago, and yeah, the brakes on this thing are superior to that of that FJ Cruiser that I drove a couple of years back. Now, when it comes to the acceleration and driving performance of this thing, well, this has an AFE intake and also a DTE pedal box, so the throttle input is a little bit more responsive than stock, guys. However, this FJ Cruiser did not get an ECU tune, so these modifications have not been maximized. I do love that engine and that exhaust note though. The way it enters the cabin and gives that low, deep rumble as you're accelerating up this hill. See? I love it. It's not too loud, it's not too intrusive, but it gives you that hint that you are driving a modified Toyota FJ Cruiser. Now, you really have to be quite careful when you're driving this thing, especially in inner city streets like what we're doing now. See, all those blind spots on this thing, you really have to be careful because you might end up hitting something you don't want to hit. So your front grille might have some bugs, might have some beetles on it, and maybe even some Kia Picantos. So you'll have to be really careful when you're driving this thing. Now, the good thing here is it also comes with a reverse camera, but the image of the reverse camera comes out on the rear view mirror, and it is tiny. It doesn't really fit the size of this vehicle. It helps a little bit, especially when you're backing this thing up, but really not by much. But well, it's better to have that than nothing at all. Now, I love that the suspension of this thing is not bumpy at all. I mean, this has been tuned for off-road use, but it is quite pliant on city streets. Granted, you do know that you are in an SUV. You'd feel that you're in an SUV, but this is quite smooth. It's quite soft even, especially let's say if you compare it to a stock Toyota Fortuner. This FJ Cruiser suspension tuning is pretty good, and I believe you could daily drive this without getting a backache when you're driving this thing. Overall, guys, what can I say? I love the modifications done to this FJ Cruiser. And that is in fact the essence of modification. You see, it not only should make the vehicle look good, but it should also enhance the performance, the overall performance of the vehicle from a stock version. And that's exactly what this FJ Cruiser is. It's got better stopping power, it's got a quick acceleration, it's got a good amount of acceleration to it, and the suspension, though it's been tuned for off-road use, well, it is still surprisingly comfortable to use this on city streets. And of course, the best part, guys, man, this FJ Cruiser looks totally badass. The FJ Cruiser may look quirky and unique even while it's stock, but it also begs to be modified. It reaches its true potential when its owner decides to customize it and make it his own. When fully kitted out like this example that we have here, well, it not only attracts attention, it demands it. Thanks for watching.